Hey, what is going on, guys? Danny here. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all doing well. So, Playground Games, they have unveiled the PC system requirements for the upcoming Forza Horizon 6 game, which is a game that I've been highly anticipating. Now, the Forza Horizon series and Forza series in general, I've always been a big fan of these racing games ever since like Forza Motorsport 2. And with the Forza Horizon series, ever since they introduced that, I absolutely loved them. The fact that they brought all those cars from the motorsport series, the similar gameplay mechanics, and then you'd be able to drive through all of the expansive worlds was just phenomenal. And ever since they started rolling out the games on PC with Forza Horizon 6, I've been a huge fan and have been playing them avidly. Been quite some time since the last Forza Horizon game. I believe Forza Horizon 5 came out in 2021. So yeah, I mean we were due for an update, and the fact that this is set in Japan makes it all the more better because myself and various other fans have been asking them to finally make a game in Japan. Such an iconic place. I went there last year actually in person, had an absolutely phenomenal time. And, we actually did drive around some places around Mount Fuji. So when I saw the trailers, when I saw them showing all the skylines and the views, I was absolutely ecstatic about it because I'm like, hey, this is really bringing back those memories that I experienced there. And the fact that now I can drive around in a Supra there or a McLaren or whatever, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And Playground Games, they have always done a very, very good job when it comes to optimizing games on the PC. And I mean, Forza Horizon 3 was a little bit of an exception. That was the first attempt, right? So, you can give them the benefit of the doubt there. But I remember Forza Horizon 3 actually refunded it within a week because it was just awful. The game would crash. The performance was all over the place. It just wouldn't run properly. But then after a few months, they did roll out some updates, and yeah, the game ran perfectly. Then Forza Horizon 4 and Forza Horizon 5 out of the gate, those games were optimized very, very well. They ran like a dream, and it seems like Forza Horizon 6 is going to be carrying that tradition. It's why you guys often saw a lot of tech tubers who'd be reviewing like, mini PCs or low end hardware use a game like Forza Horizon 4 or Forza Horizon 5 in their benchmarks because the way the game was just optimized, it could run on a potato. It was done really, really well. And so with Forza Horizon 6, just judging by the specs over here and the notes, it looks like they're going to be carrying that tradition because it says, hey, you can play this game on a Steam Deck and on the ROG Ally, which is great because those are handheld systems. They have some low end hardware or limited hardware, right? But the fact that you can get this open world, expansive racing game, this next gen racing game working on those devices is, it definitely, deserves credit to them. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the specifications. I haven't actually taken a look at this before, so I'm kind of going into this blind myself. But yeah, I thought I'd just give you guys an overview of the PC system requirements. I like doing this kind of stuff now for like these upcoming games that I'm interested in and what are highly anticipated. So that way, anyone else who's watching or who's new to the PC tech space and doesn't know what they're exactly looking at can kind of make sense of it and get a better insight on things. So that way they kind of know what to expect. I mean, like I said, I'm optimistic. This thing's just going to run well on a wide variety of hardware, even if you have something very low end. Like I said, the Steam Deck's there, so that should make you feel better. So when we take a look at the minimum specifications, what do we have here? So we've got an i5 8400 and we've got the Ryzen 5 1600. So these are some relatively old 6-core CPUs now, right? First gen Ryzen came out in 2017, and I think Intel's 8 gen was 2018. So yeah, fairly old, but they're still pretty capable 6-core CPUs. And then for the GPUs, we have a 1650. So very low end from NVIDIA. Also very old. I think that was what 2018 as well, 2017. Same thing with the 6500 XT. That's a very low end. And then they have Intel Arc. Great. Intel Arcs included the A380, which is one of the first discrete GPUs that Intel launched. And if you saw the benchmarks, that one was also very, very low end. But the fact that they show that on the minimum specifications and say it's capable of running, it looks like from the notes, it's going to be low quality graphics settings with the target resolution at 1080p and 60 FPS. So yeah, I mean the fact that those really old graphics cards, with such low end hardware and capabilities, can run them, I think that's absolutely great. Um, and then in terms of system RAM, 16 gigabytes, that's also a really good sign to see as well. A lot of games these days, especially these open world expansive games, are requiring a lot of system memory, right? At least 32 gigabytes at the minimum from what I'm seeing from some of these games coming out. But the fact that they kept it at 16 gigabytes is absolutely great. Then for storage, they just list SSD, no specific requirement. It looks like in the later, higher presets, they do state NVMe SSD, but I mean, I feel like this one wouldn't be too drastic. I'm pretty sure this game is going to be supporting direct storage. I believe direct storage was actually introduced a little bit later after Forza Horizon 5. But I mean, in terms of load times, like I ran Forza Horizon 5 on a NVMe SSD. It wasn't even like a high-end Gen 4 SSD. It was actually a Gen 3 SSD. And yeah, I mean, it ran great. Load times were amazing as well for such an open world game. So shouldn't be too problematic there. Windows version, they recommend at least Windows 10 or Windows 11, at least 22H2, which I mean, most people will meet those requirements. All right, so let's move on to the recommended specifications. So this is like that category that they're targeting for where the vast majority of PC gamers, I guess, are going to lie in. Um, so for the CPU, we've still got 6-core CPUs. We've got the 12400F, which is an Alder Lake 6-core 12-thread part, and then we've got the Ryzen 5 5600X. Still great CPUs, very very capable. And these can be had for very very cheap too. I think on the used market, you can find a 5600X for like less than $100 nowadays, and I think the 12400 goes for around $100 as well. So yeah, even though they're 6-core CPUs, they are pretty dirt cheap, and I figure a lot of people in this day and age have a CPU that's around that level, right? At least what the mainstream category has. And then for the GPUs, we're looking at the 3060 Ti and then the 6700 XT and then the Arc A580. So these are um, pretty relevant, like low to mid range, lower mid range CPUs, you could say. Well, I guess like the newer mid range, people call that like the 5070, right? But in terms of like what's traditionally been out there over the last few years, yeah, like the 3060 and the 3060 Ti have been very, very popular GPUs. 3060 Ti, I remember I did a review on that card. That one actually was beating out my 2080 Super. So it's still a very, very capable GPU. Um, 6700 XT as well. That's also a phenomenal card. You're looking at like 2080 Ti levels of performance there. And then the Arc A580. This one was kind of all over the place when it came out. I know with recent driver updates, Intel has made its performance a lot more consistent. But I remember when I was watching reviews and looking at reviews for this card, it was ranging anywhere from like a RX 6600, and then it would sometimes, yeah, trade blows with like a 2080 Ti or RX 6700 XT. But I mean, knowing what we know about Playground Games, I'd imagine the Arc A580 is going to be running this game absolutely phenomenally. Yeah, 16 gigabytes, so no changes on the system RAM. Still recommending just a regular SSD. And then when they mean recommended, what they're targeting here is high settings at 1440p and then 60 plus FPS. So and I've said this before, I'm gonna keep reiterating it because when it comes to high settings, a lot of people seem to get caught up with the max visual fidelity stuff or ultra settings. Trust me, guys, you don't need it. Really don't need it. Games look absolutely stunning and phenomenal just on regular high settings, and it's kind of weird how like because developers have introduced so many other levels beyond just high settings. You've got ultra. Sometimes you can go to max or cinematic or nightmare or whatever you want to call it, ultimate. The people think that, oh yeah, high settings is now like a mid-range type of thing now, and it's really not. Like high settings is still giving you a lot of visual fidelity. And if you go back and carefully compare stuff outside of enabling stuff like ray tracing, just compare high to ultra. Most of the time, the benefits that you're are looking at there visually, sometimes it's really not even that noticeable. I mean, they can be, but you have to really go looking for it. So, hey, I say just stick with high and enjoy the smooth performance. All right, so let's move on to the extreme preset. And for this one, what they're stating here, the graphical preset will be extreme quality settings. So yeah, that's like another higher level beyond just high, right? Resolution will be 4K and then target FPS 60 plus. And I mean, when you think about extreme settings beyond high, and then you think about 4K 60 plus, you start thinking about like really, really high end GPUs, right? Like 4090s, 5090s. I mean, on the AMD side, they don't really have anything at that level. So 7900 XTX, I guess, or 9070 XT. But no, I mean, if you take a look at the specifications, and I mean, you're going to be more GPU bound here. So um, CPU specifications don't really matter much. They still bump them up, right? So we've got a 12700K, which is an Alder Lake 8-core CPU, and I think it has 4 cores. So it is a very robust CPU. Still absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I still sometimes recommend people to get that CPU if they're looking for something, cheap and used on a budget. It can still compete if you know how to tune it. And then on the AMD side, we've got a 7700X, so that's still a very good, capable 8-core, 16 part. Comparable performance, I guess, to a 12700K stock. And then the GPU wise, right? Going back to that, like I was saying, you think something super high end for 4K extreme, but we're looking at a 4070 Ti, which is like a last generation upper mid range card, and the AMD equivalent being the 7900 XT. So yeah, nothing like crazy high end, right? When these cards did come out, sure, they were expensive, right? But nowadays, I mean, if you look on the used market, granted, outside of like this whole shortage situation, you could find these cards on a pretty good like clearance deal or on the used market. They do actually bump up the system specifications here, system RAM specifications to 24 gigabytes. I mean, I guess which is to be expected, right? Because when you're going to be using extreme settings for everything in this whole big expansive world, and from what I've been hearing, the Japanese map or the Japan map is going to be the largest it's ever been in a Forza Horizon 6, which makes me super excited. I can't wait to check out all the various places. And then yeah, they actually start recommending an NVMe SSD. So I guess yeah, like at this point, with how expansive this map is going to be, with how detailed everything is going to be, all the structures, they want you to have a fast medium of storage here. I wish they were a bit more specific though. Like, what do you mean by NVMe SSD, right? Because like there has been Gen 3 NVMe SSDs, but they have like read and write speeds around like 3,000 megabytes per second, right? Whereas like you could go to a Gen 4 NVMe SSD, a fairly high end one that has like a read and write speeds of around 7,000, 7,500 megabytes per second. Um, so I mean, I wish they were a bit more specific about that. Obviously, Windows versions that doesn't change; that stays the same throughout. But I mean, for the extreme quality settings, the extreme preset. So this is outside of like ray tracing. I've been pretty surprised. Like this is actually lower than I was expecting. I was honestly expecting to see something like a 4080 Super and then a 7900 XTX listed here. But yeah, 4070 Ti, that's like upper mid range, and 7900 XT also upper mid range, right? Um, so yeah, I mean that will be doable for quite a lot of people as well. And I mean, depending on if you have like a newer generation card, something like a 5070, that might still be able to do it too. Even a regular 9070 non XT, that will probably be able to do it as well. Um, Something like a Tune 7800 XT that could probably do it. So very, very cool. Very, very promising to see. Like I said, Playground Games, these guys, they know their stuff. They're pretty much the walking definition of optimization. And I noticed, like, when it comes to first party Xbox developers, they generally do a really, really good job because they understand the hardware architectures, especially when it comes to Windows 2. So great job there. Then finally, let's move on to Extreme RT. So it looks like really the only thing that's changing here is that they're enabling ray tracing. um, so with ray tracing enabled, they're still and they're actually mentioning 4K upscaled here. So again, I wish there were more specific here because 4K upscaled can mean a lot of things, right? When it comes to Nvidia, is this DLSS 4.0 quality mode? Is this DLSS 4.5 performance? DLSS 3 balance? Like what is this, right? Same thing, FSR 3 balanced, FSR quality. Like what version of upscaled are we talking here? Now, are they just kind of leaving it to the user to go from there and be like, hey, if you want just 60 FPS, you're fine with 4K upscaled quality mode, or if you want like 100 FPS, you're going to need 4K performance mode upscaling, right? So I guess we're going to have to play around with that. When the game does come out, I'll probably be making some test videos about it with some various hardware, just like I did with Crimson Desert. It's always fun to do that, right? So yeah, interesting to see that. Now, when it comes to ray tracing, I mean, ray tracing wasn't that prevalent when Forza Horizon 5 came out. Forza Horizon 5 came out in late 2021, if I'm not mistaken. and I don't even think the game had ray tracing in it. And then they did update it, but I think ray tracing was only enabled on the player's car, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can correct me in the comments, but I think that's how it went. So even though people would benchmark the game with ray tracing enabled, or they would show, hey, ray tracing is on in Forza Horizon 5 in this benchmark, I don't think they were realizing that it wasn't like a full-on whole world ray tracing. It was, I think, just done on the player's car, which wasn't too super demanding. But I think in this case, obviously with Forza Horizon 6, how prevalent ray tracing has become and how much more advanced the tech has become, um, it's going to be, yeah, like they say right there, ray trace reflections and global illumination. So you can expect it to be a lot more profound, a lot more visible, a lot more noticeable. I'm very, very much interested in checking that out. But we'll see how demanding it is, and also will stuff like ray reconstruction or ray regeneration be included too, right? So we'll have to take a look at that. But CPU requirements don't change. It's the same thing from the extreme. Like I said, when you start getting to this level of graphical fidelity, you're going to be just primarily GPU bound. But then they bump up the specs to the 5070 Ti and the Radeon RX 9070 XT. And it's interesting because we all know generally NVIDIA is a lot more capable when it comes to ray tracing and path tracing. When it comes to those technologies, it's just always been the way. NVIDIA's it's always because NVIDIA was the first one to adopt it. They've just been at the forefront of advancing it with their performance. And then AMD's always been playing catch up. But the 9070 XT, like when I reviewed it, there were a number of games that did surprise me with its ray tracing capabilities. Yeah, I actually went back and I pulled up some of the benchmark data I had from my RX 9070 XT review, and I did do a section or portion of the benchmark suite with ray tracing enabled in some of the games. And I mean, yeah, some of the games, the 5070 Ti just absolutely destroys the 9070 XT. Like, look at these margins; it's like over double the performance, right? Um, but then there's some games like you look at Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and the 9070 XT, trails behind, but it's relatively close and still able to give you a decent time. Um, Alan Wake 2, same thing. Hogwarts Legacy, the 9070 XT actually comes out ahead. And I mean, in Spider-Man 2, which is a console game or console port, looks like the 9070 XT does better. And that makes sense because, I mean, similar architectures to what the PS5 used, right? So same thing with the Xbox game, similar architecture used. So I figured that's probably going to be a similar case with Forza, right? But then in terms of system RAM, they actually do bump up the requirements to 32 gigabytes. So makes sense, right? When it comes to ray tracing and how profound these effects are going to be, um, yeah, I mean, it can get really, really demanding. And with these graphics cards that they recommend, 16 gigabyte VRAM buffers, things might spill over into system memory, right? So they want to just at least recommend that higher headroom. You may not end up needing it, right? Sometimes with these requirements, they are a little bit over exaggerated, but hey, better give people the higher expectation or let them temper their expectation rather than say, no, you'll be fine with 24 gigs and it ends up being kind of like a stuttery mess for them. NVMe SSD given, right? You definitely want a really fast medium of storage when you're going to be enabling all of these really high end effects in such an expansive open world game. But yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers everything for the system requirements for Forza Horizon 6. Judging by what I'll probably title this video, is your PC ready? Yeah, I mean, I can say confidently that for the vast majority of PC gamers that are out there, even if you have something really low end, your PC's ready. You'll be able to get an enjoyable time. Just, temper your expectations, go into the settings, play around with it, just spend 5-10 minutes and, evaluate what your hardware is capable of. You don't have to max out all the sliders. Like I said, high and medium, a mixture of high and medium settings can still give you a very, very good visually good experience in a lot of these games. And I mean, I have a 4090. I'll be playing this game on a 4K OLED, but I'll still be doing a mixture of settings. I'm not gonna just max out everything and see how it goes from there because I want to make sure that hey, my FPS, my average FPS, and my frame times are consistent. Now, with that said, when it comes to like FPS, right, in a racing game, I find, especially in a casual racing game like this, it's not a super competitive sim racing game. I find that if you have like a locked 60 FPS, a very, very consistent 60 FPS with your like lows in the high 50s, yeah, I mean, that's buttery smooth. It's still totally playable and you'll get an enjoyable experience. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. I'll be trying this out on various hardware. And because the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally are also listed there, I'll be very, very much looking forward to testing this on the MSI Claw as well. So finally going to be able to do a some handheld testing for a game as well right out of the gate, not have to worry about, hey, we don't support handhelds or Intel hard GPUs. What a bunch of nonsense. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this one, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this overview, and we'll touch base in the next one. Take care.
If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.